Oh, listen, your ears must have been burning yesterday.
Hi.
Oh, I was chatting to Danny about you.
All right, really?
Oh, listen, huge congratulations on your beautiful, uh, emotive and transportative work in this film. It's absolutely magnificent.
Oh,
Nice.
thank you very much. Thank you.
So good. And he was talking about your shed, as he described it, which
This
is that
is
where
this
you
is.
are?
Can you see
Yeah.
it? Can you
Yeah,
see why it's
yeah, it's more like a double garage, to
yeah.
be honest. And then
It's, it's where the magic happens. That's all that
Uh,
matters.
yeah, it's interesting because we don't really allow people into our space. So we're like, should we tidy up for Danny? Should we have like a place where he can have a cup of tea so he can have and stuff when he comes listens to some of the stuff? But we don't even have a proper kitchen. It's just
no.
like a little sink. So he brought the biscuits and we put the kettle on.
And the rest is history. Listen, I guess, what was the ask of you in terms of how, how did he present the possibility of working on this film with him to you guys? And what was your response, I guess, initially?
I think what happened was, we've known Danny since T2, obviously, when
Yeah.
he invited us out to the set there, when they were filming, and just such a lovely man. And then I think he's just been watching us for a while, and then he came to the Royal Albert Hall gig that we done, and I think after it he texted Aloysius just saying, I'm how would you guys feel about this? I'm doing another film. Do you want to soundtrack it? There was no details about what it was or anything like that. And obviously, as soon as Aloy told us that, then it was kind of like, well, we're up for it. And then we found out what it was, and then we were even more up for it. So it was a kind of nice way to to hear from himself. And I
Mm.
think with Danny, that's his power. Is he's so good at kind of just he's got patience for everybody, and he can talk to you pretty directly. And I think that's how he likes to operate. He's got his,
Yeah.
he's all over it. You know what I mean? So in every respect with the films he does. So
Yeah.
and it was a great way to work with him actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he has this infectious passion
Yeah.
for stuff. And what Graham was saying is like you're there with him. The way he describes things and his enthusiasm for getting things right as well. It's like, right, I want to see your vision. I'm there with you, mate. And it's quite good for us. We got the script sent over.
Yeah.
Um, took a couple of days to like go over it, and we're like, yes, let's do it. Like the guys were more psyched than I was because I wanted to get back into making an album. I wanted to
Yeah.
like make some music for ourselves, and you know, being involved in someone else's vision was quite interesting and challenging at some parts. But after all has been said and done, really, really proud of what's been created here.
What
Mhm.
was your that first film is one of those kind of classics, you know what I mean? It's such an important part of cinematic history, I think, in terms of on so many levels, kind of what it did. And also just in terms of their commitment to making sure the music was right on that first film, in terms of, I know that it wasn't an easy job for them to get that kind of Godspeed track, for example, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But they knew how important that was. It was right for the film.
yeah.
And I wondered what your kind of relationship was with that original film,
Well,
Um,
I mean, I think I watched it. I must have been like an early teenager when I first seen it, and
yeah.
um, I actually remember the effect the music had on me. There's an Eno track in it, Ascent, I think it is, and I just remember like at that age I had never encountered, never even heard of him or anything like that, and I remember hearing that song and just wanted to play that scene over and over again because there was something about it, and it was yeah, I think that's immediately, when Danny got, he reached out, is that that's what you're attracted to, is that his skill with music in film, you
Hmm.
know, and how, he talked to us about, he came up to meet us first and we went and met him and he was just, and I think it's the variance that he has because, a lot of his films is needle drops. We're a kind of strange pop band. So like I immediately liked the conversation where it was going with the idea of, it's a soundtrack, but we also make songs.
Yeah,
So you can still have that needle drop mentality. And I think like especially like from the first film, they're just really good needle drops. And it's I think it's one of Danny's strongest, things is how he uses music. And um
absolutely.
but obviously it's like, that it's a big kind of, you try and know in Sweat, the fact that like most of his films have like a kind of powerful soundtrack.
Yeah.
And that especially the first one, has such a kind of lasting legacy in people's minds, not just as a film, but also the music from it and stuff like that. So,
Mm,
but I think the way Danny described it is like, he didn't, he wanted it to be, um, he didn't want it to be like a sequel in a sense. It
absolutely.
would be
Absolutely. It's its own thing.
its own
Yeah.
thing, and it's related to it, but it's a whole new kind of original story. And
Absolutely. Well,
so
they're all new characters, aren't they? And they're all new. It's a different time. It's a different lived experience from all these characters and this community and how they've survived and all these kind of different sort of elements to it as well. He was funny yesterday. He was saying that he thinks I Saw is one of the greatest songs ever written, but there was no chance you were letting him use it in the film at all.
no, we were actually. I don't know who's got in between us and got in here, but I remember I've spoke to him and said it's fine. Like,
Yeah, we did say it's fine, but there was also the idea of trying to, as you said, there's a community that exists within the film, and to create music that fit that the a sense of diversity or like a sense of something fresh and new and different
yeah, maybe
that like would like exist within communities. So that's was part of the impetus to like start the soundtrack for us when we started putting all the songs together and seeing what fits. There was a lot of this works, this doesn't work, and this will work for a short period of time. Let's change that. Um,
he
but
maybe sensed
that
something from us that we did want it to be kind of all original in a sense, and
Yeah.
um, maybe he sensed that, and maybe because we kept sending them
delivering like
more
new,
instead of that. So it was kind of like, what, like, so maybe he sensed that, but it definitely was like, for us, it's like the way Danny works is not that different from us in a sense
Yeah.
that the end, the end product, the end thing is no, premeditated.
Mm,
There's no point in, having it fixed in your mind before it's done. And
Mhm.
yeah.
even though film is, a lot different from music, and you do have to, plan a lot more in film. I think that he's like, amount of stuff we sent, and we'd send it for this scene, and then he'd move it to this scene, and it would work even better. And no being precious about that. It's basically just
Yeah.
whatever works the best, and you can't. And sometimes those things that you wouldn't have done over that, you wouldn't have put that cue over that scene
Yeah.
in the first place, and then you do it and you go, well, that's so much better. And I think Andy's just so honest. And I remember
Yeah.
the first time he came up here and he was standing here and we were playing stuff to him, and he's just like, that doesn't work. And I remember when he said that, I was, thank God,
Yeah.
because it was just that thing of like, this is going to be good now.
Yeah.
Because
Honesty.
this honesty, I really like criticism. I really like someone who can dig into it and be productive with it.
Yeah, it's not just saying you don't like it, it's also saying why. And Danny was
Yeah.
extremely good at explaining why it didn't work for the scene
Mhm.
and what would work best for the scene. the back and forth between sending ideas for specific scenes. What Graham was saying, you get stuck. You get stuck. It's like, well,
Yeah.
I've seen it, and like they've changed everything about and edited the music to fit. The soundscape works perfectly. It has its peaks and its troughs. That's it. And it's like, nah, just try this. And you're like, oh, okay. So maybe we shouldn't, yeah, okay, maybe we shouldn't be too precious and understand there's so much room for things to develop and grow into something unpredicted. And that's the exciting part where you
Mhm.
see like this interweaving thing that happens that you didn't expect it to.
Absolutely. It's almost like a it's like an unspoken language between the visuals and the both the music and the soundscape as well, in terms of something kind of almost chemical reaction
Yeah,
works to us as humans where you feel it.
yeah, for
Hmm.
sure.
It's
People forget
amazing.
music is crucial, extremely crucial when it comes to film. Like being in this new space for myself, I think Graham has done film before, but being in this new space, you sometimes think the music is just like a second thought. It's just
Hmm.
in the background. You forget about it, but you forget how it laments certain zeitgeist in people's mind. It literally makes things amplified and makes your emotion, makes your heart like squeeze and like want to burst. It makes you all these emotions come, and like that is
And Danny's,
achieved by the music. And
yeah,
Danny is very,
Yeah.
very
he's very good at
keen to it.
his choices. And I think even like our awareness of Danny's choices, like and a lot of his films musically, is that allowed us to take more risks because
Hmm.
if it's too on the nose. There's some moments where it's like it has to be on the nose, and some moments where it feels like knowing Danny, well, trying to think where he's thinking or what he would do. It allowed us a lot more scope, and there was a lot
Yeah.
more kind of risks taken, I think. And a lot of the time we go, he's not going to go for that. We'd send it, and it's always
Trying
those
to
ones.
double guess them.
Yeah, yeah, it was always those ones that he would actually go for, and so it was always like I think it's just that it's a good relationship because of that because
Mm.
you have that scope because it's Danny is he's just the master at that the music choice to change a whole scene that if you had
Yeah.
what would maybe usually be there um it just wouldn't say the same thing and it's so like that was just great there's a lot of back and forth and there's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that never got used and but it's just that thing of like you had the scope to do it and
Yeah.
yeah.
And talking about scope as well, that also comes into the, of him encouraging you to go and use an orchestra as well. That was kind of like he was it was like honestly it was like listen to a proud uncle talk about kind of, sort of just,
We did, we
you know,
we weren't comfortable.
Yeah,
We
he
were
was
like I don't know, like it's a bit kind of
he's opened Pandora's box, to be
uh,
honest, and there's no turning back. The Having was it 50?
it was a bit. I think it was 60 maybe.
60. He said 60.
60.
Yeah, like when it was getting
Did he
organized.
tell you 10?
No, he told like don't don't go under 45. That's what he texted me. He said
Yeah.
don't go under 45. I was like okay, because he's done it a few times
Yeah.
and he came here and he was standing there and going, we could do it. And we were kind of like,
But it sounds great.
I
Like, you
know,
can read it.
I know. We were like, oh, it's already good, and I think it's got its sound because it's done in a room like this, and we had players come in here
Mm.
and kind of try and emulate um, a more kind of rock and roll sounding orchestra, um, and we were maybe just a bit worried about the lushness and all that, and us being contrary.
Sentimental.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
At the same time, it was like there's it really just depends on the people, the players, how it's
Mm.
done, and so like Rosie came in and helped with the orchestration, and it was great, And Danny, yeah, I turned to Danny as soon as it started. I turned to Danny. I was like, thanks, because it was just one of those moments where, yeah, I mean, everybody says the same thing when they first hear the music being played by an orchestra. It's like but it's just one of those moments where you go, right, yeah, okay, I get it now.
And he kept saying to us that he wanted us to have the full experience.
Yeah.
Man, to him, it's like having the opportunity to actually do it in the first place. There's not a lot of chances that you get to be in the room with 60 plus extremely talented players, So he was like, I want you guys to have this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go for it.
But even how
the music lends itself to
Totally.
so much with this introduction of orchestra.
But even the way that even when we were there, Danny walked in the room and was like describing it to, the room full of players and stuff like that, and really kind of, getting into it so everybody knew what
The weight of that.
yeah, the
Yeah.
weight of that. And so
So yeah, they were playing like he was giving them what to feed off of. And they were like,
yeah, and it made such a difference.
That needs a little bit more oomph. Is that what you got?
Oomph. Get more oomph.
Even more, even more boom, bounce, boom.
Get loudy. The is the piece called Remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you talk to me a little bit about writing that? I just have to let you know. So when I went in to see the film last week. Obviously, we didn't know much about it at all. New cast and bits of cast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that first moment where they say the kid's name, Spike, and they refer to him as Spiky. I have a 12-year-old son called Spike and call him Spiky. So I was like immediately like, oh my God. Like literally, yeah, it was crazy. I was like, it was like some kind of suction had pulled me right into the film in a way. It was unbelievable. I can't wait to see it again. I just feel like that first experience was like so great that I know when I go back to see it again, I'm gonna just feel and see and hear and so much more. As you always do with Danny's films, even when you go back to watch them 20 years later, it's still kind of like so incredible. But talk to me a little bit about writing that piece and yeah, what sparked the inspiration?
I mean, it took a fair few attempts.
Jesus.
That one.
All the best things do.
Yeah. And no, but it was good. Like I think we all enjoyed the just that the working through it, and like there was a couple of times when I think we felt like, all right, we've nailed it, and he comes up and he goes, nah, it's not working, and it was one of those things where you're kind of a bit heartbroken, but also
Yeah.
I always kind of enjoy that kind of thing because it feels like you're going to enjoy digging deeper to try and see what it is. And I remember he was saying something about it being sweet, and then we had to sit down and go, right, what is sweet to you, Daddy, and what is sweet to me, what is sweet to all of us
is different.
Like what is actually, what do you mean? And then that helped. Because I was saying, sweet to me, Danny, is like, that's like reggae to me. That's like, dub music, sweet to me. It's like, oh, and what's that? And then he would go through what's sweet to him musically, and then I think it was, but to be honest, I don't think it actually sounds sweet. It's weird that word was banged about so much, but um, I think it just took a few attempts to realize although it's emotional, it has to be emotional. It was like the way in which it pulled at certain points and in certain moments in that scene, and kind of just highlighting the little bits because I don't think that scene changed that much in the edit from the first time we see it, and it was just one of those ones where it just needed to hit the right bits, and yeah, it was a whole new kind of thing because we've never really written in that style, maybe like ever of like something that's so orchestrated and it was definitely that was probably the biggest challenge of the film that and also because I knew it meant so much to Danny and John the editor as well who
Mm.
came up and I remember like the thing we had before that version he was like it's emotional I felt it but it's just no there yet and so like we went back and then started again done something completely different and then
I think
eventually
Graham was being a wee bit nice. It was like we were raging. We were like, but that's good.
like
Like, what's the problem? We've nailed it. This is like the eighth time like we've done something brand new. So it wasn't just tweaking one idea and trying to
Starting again.
we were starting again every single time.
rated I was all right
I was raging. We were starting again every single time. And then we're like, right, we've nailed it at this point. No, we've nailed it at this point. Still a no. And then to the point where it was like, we did that thing where it was like, he's not going to go for this one.
yeah
Oh,
So it happened with Remember as well. It was like, he's not going to go for it. It's like, this might be too sweet. And then we were going through all the motions in our head. And the way that we kind of came around is like, well, if it's not, let's just push it a little bit further. And that's what we did. How it sounds now in the film was not how we actually conceived the um, the score for that scene. It was more like we're like, well, just let's treat it as a song. Let's treat it as a song. And immediately when we got into that main set of treating it,
mm.
where we had like a big deep emotive like verse and then went into a chorus, then we started dissecting it, pulling stuff out,
Yeah.
pulling stuff in, and then it ended up being something he could say yes to, and it's like,
Mhm.
I'm there now.
yeah I mean that was I remember it came up and he hadn't heard it and we were showing other cues and stuff like that but that was the one I was all right okay this I remember and
Putting it off.
yeah and he got and he, yeah and he stood there and I could he was quite emotional and it was like yeah and he just went yeah that's it well done and then it was like
Oh man.
yeah and it was just like all right okay and that was the one that was like right we've got that so now we
Yeah.
kind of get like because I think the other thing is that like because we've never really done this before it's context as well because you're kind of doing cues for bits it's like remembering to watch things in context is such um a skill and but it's hard because
Yeah.
all that but like remembering to keep the context is
And were
what
you right into edits then? Did you have kind of rough edits of
there's
of
there's
of stuff? Or
there's
was yeah.
there's some stuff that's pre-picture still there and there's some stuff that it's kind of a good mix actually because Danny did say when he sent us the script like I want you to write before you see anything
Yeah.
and
Which we did, and
which we did
we had some couple of like beautiful sounds that most of them we didn't actually use, to be honest.
yeah
There was only a couple like well, Promised Land,
Promised Land
Yeah.
yeah there's a lot of things that were done
pre.
pre-picture and imagine it I'm like just reading the script and kind of he had said this thing about you know he had said like drums and vocals was his like idea and then he had this other thing of British obviously of like it has to be British sounding
Hmm.
um and that was kind of it and so it was good yeah it's good working that way because I think again you're no precious about where it lands and how it lands or whatever and I think um we managed to get a good mix of stuff that wasn't just done to the scene and a lot of stuff that is in the film where it is wasn't where it originally was in
Yeah.
yeah
When you uh when you saw Jack O'Connell at the end there at the first film, what's your response to that?
Great.
Yeah,
Raj.
Absolute Raj.
Yeah, but it was like the cherry on top, really. It was, yeah, it was the cherry on top, and it took you somewhere.
Yeah.
All great films have a moment where, like, it transcends.
it's just such it's I think it's such a Danny
Move.
move. I've got a big note here saying don't talk about it, but yeah,
What? The second film or just that ending?
this certain
You know what you're
things,
talking about?
certain
Never met.
things are not allowed to talk about.
I've already had an email today from them saying, can you cut out loads of stuff that Danny talked about yesterday because he gave way too many spoilers for the second film.
Yeah.
So if he can't, he shut
So
up.
actually,
It's like,
We can say it's Raj. That's fine.
so
there we go.
that's why I don't have many friends. I spoil everything. I give away the spoil. I'm that person in the back testifying. I saw it all. I know what happened. I'll give you the rundown, the details, play by play, whatever you want.
No!
Just ask me. I'll give it to you. No stress.
Have you had the luxury of watching the film in its entirety on a big screen with a massive sound system yet?
No, that'll be
What?
at the premiere. Yeah.
I'll see you there. I'm doing the
Yeah.
red carpet.
Oh, good.
Good.
Yeah, that's so looking for. It's that thing where when you're working on something. I mean, that must be a good 8 months or something working on something, and you do become a bit kind of almost immune to it sometimes when
Yeah.
you're in it, and yeah. So like I've personally just like okay, it's all been handed in and it's all sorted. It's like I just don't want to because I like I listen. The mix when we were doing the mix with Johnny in the big studios and stuff. I heard what it would sound like on
Yeah.
7.1 and all that, and that's another world that I just realized was like there's another layer to this like and but I'm looking forward to just watching the whole film with just be in it rather than
Yeah.
in bits and yeah.
I'm looking forward to the live playback of like the film with the live music whenever that's going to happen.
Does that happen? I didn't know that's.
We play it at the premiere.
No, not in the premiere, but in the future, like make a plan of like showing the film but with the music being played live. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Do people do that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to happen.
Yeah.
Listen, I think we're being wrapped up, but listen, it's so great to chat to you. I mean, I'm such a big fan of you guys and just to see the work that you've done on this. And I love the fact that you said he's the kind of, he's sort of like opened Pandora's box, in terms of how each experience kind of leads you on creatively to something, to where that can take you. So it makes me even more excited about where it takes you as a band. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in person tomorrow night.
Yeah, I look forward to it as well. And we're just happy that like it's complete and we've handed over and then we can start working on our album.
Yes! Can't wait.